Good evening and welcome back to another episode of What Do You Hunt? Tonight's episode has a great panel, and we're going to be talking about pretty much every age of comics you can imagine. The Golden Age, the Silver Age, pre-code horror, everything. First thing I want to do, though, is I want to thank my guests from last week, Biggie Shack, Discovery Bay Comics, and Hialeah Comic Bro. Everybody had a really good time, and we had a lot of good discussions talking about what we hunt. And I just want to say thank you again to everybody that came out yesterday, or came out last Tuesday. I'm trying to remember the days here. So tonight we also have a great panel of guests. He's been on YouTube for a while. He's got over 4,000 subscribers. He's a member of the 9.2 crew and one of the first channels I watched religiously on YouTube before I started doing my own videos. Alex, the Comic Hoarder.
What's up? How's it going, Jimmy? It's good to see you.
Great, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you giving up your time from your family tonight to come on and do this.
We just played like a 2-hour game of Uno before this. So we stuffed our face, early dinner, and then about a 2-hour game of Uno, and it just got over about 20 minutes ago, so I'm good to go. I'm ready.
That is an epic game of Uno. 2 hours, man.
It was
crazy. Also joining us tonight, you know him from The Hunt. He was dubbed Dr. Banger by Biggie Shack, and he's been blessing the community with generous AOKs. Everybody welcome the Doc Man Cave Comics.
Hey, Jimmy and Alex. Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely.
I'm hyped. Unlike Alex, I couldn't wait to get away from my family.
And pray they don't hear you upstairs, right?
Yeah. No, it's all good. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. We do appreciate it. And our last guest has appeared on multiple YouTube shows, including The Golden Guys on the Comic Core channel, Bub's Comics' No Faces Chat on Monday nights, and just about everybody else's channel, including mine. Presser Extraordinaire, DS Comics.
What's up, guys? Good to see you. So I just got off like a 11-hour shift, so if I fall asleep, I apologize, but I'll try to stick with it.
Well, we appreciate you making the effort. We really do.
I'm ready to talk comics. I have been doing no comics all day, so let's do it. I'm
just throw back a Red Bull and some vodka, and I think you'll be all right.
Is that what that is?
No, this is a rum and coke. But I'm not expecting to stay up as long as I haven't been up as long as DS has. But we do have some great people in the chat. Biggie Shack popped in a little early. Daymares is here.
Daymares.
Comic Books NYC feeling snubbed. I got you on another show, brother. Don't you worry. It's going to be just as killer. No justice. Daymares has not elected to be on yet, so because he doesn't want to tell everybody what he's hunting for.
He's afraid of the revenge AOK. Is that the deal?
Something like that. JP's here. What's this? I'm going to stop collecting Golden Age in protest. Yeah, I can see that happening. All right. Well, like I said, thank you guys all for jumping on here, and let's just kind of get the show started. What do you hunt, right? What are you guys into? I mean, we know that comics is definitely in there, but is it just comics? Is it anything else? Is it pops? Is it toys? Is it other collectibles? You getting those collector plates with Princess Di? What is it?
I'll start. I've unfortunately. And I kind of blame it on Bub's Comics, and Jimmy is a big influence in this too. But I've kind of been getting back into guitar collecting. Have my eyes on a couple of guitars that I might be wanting to grab. This year might be, I don't know. I'll just say it, and then if you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't, you don't. But it's I might be going for a Duesenberg or a Gretsch White Falcon, both about the $2,000 range in a guitar. And if I did go for, Gretsch White Falcon, the big white guitar with the gold accoutrement, the gold trim. So
are you looking for like a new White Falcon, or are you looking for more of a vintage White Falcon?
The new White Falcons would be about the $2,000. The vintage would be like $6,000 to $7,000. I've owned a new White Falcon before. The first time I played it, this old lady after church came up to me and said, "I love that guitar. I couldn't take my eyes off of it." I never played it again and sold it. But I kind of want another one back. I didn't want it to be about the guitar, but it turned out to be about the guitar. So,
Gotcha. Well, I've seen those before. I mean, there's a lot of nice scratches, and I like how they use the Bigsby tremolos on them. But they're beautiful guitars. So, so absolutely good luck to you on that. That's fantastic.
Hopefully, I don't have to sell any comics to get the guitar, as we talked about earlier. I don't want to give up the comics yet.
Well, but you have a decent amount that you can sell. You've recently come into, so
yeah, we'll see.
If you're following Alex's channel, he's been putting out a lot of recent videos. He recently purchased a large collection. And he's been showcasing that with his friend, Large Man's Life, right?
Yeah, and I actually kind of feel alone right now. I'm with you guys, but I feel like there needs to be somebody next to me, and I need to be able to look over at them and have some banter.
Just look to your right. I'm right
I'll
there.
Just look down at Man Cave. Hey, Man Cave.
Yeah.
Very Hollywood Squares.
Good, man. I'll do the Bubs twister if you need it, just to get you.
What about you, Man Cave? Is there anything else you're getting, or is it?
No, just comics. I almost upgraded my car, my fun car. I have a regular car and a fun car, but I decided that I would have not been able to buy comics. So I said, screw that.
Well,
Plus, I wanted to enjoy my naturally aspirated flat plane crank a little longer before I went to something with a supercharger.
Flat plane crank, very nice.
Yes.
Now, I'm also a big fan of cars. So what do you have? What's your fun car?
I have a GT350 2018.
Okay,
and
very nice.
My dealer wanted me to check out the GT500, which is paddle shifters, dual clutch, supercharger, and I just decided, nah, not yet. I need a few more. I need at least 2 or 3 more years with my my stick shift. It's all fancy. It's all fancy clutches now. I like having a manual still, so I can screw it up.
So we had a note here from K Titus coming in from Japan that they had a 7.4.
Oh wow,
that's huge. We hope you're doing okay, and everybody else in Japan is doing all right as well.
Yeah.
What about you, DS? Are you picking up anything besides comics, or is that your primary focus?
Well, I stick exclusively to comics, and it's sort of like when I get really involved in a project I'm passionate about. Short term or long term, I sort of get laser focused on it. And comics has become the most sort of intensive project of passion that I've been involved in a long time, long as I can remember. So I'm laser focused on that. But there are other things that when I hit the lottery or become rich, I will collect. I like old school movie posters. I like some of the antique money and currency stuff like that. I really like old school, like middle to late 1800s animatronic stuff. It's super hard to come by and expensive. That stuff's so cool. I love engineering type, little engineering sort of toys and gadgets and quirky things from Victorian period. But really, I mean, in order to maximize the comics, I just focus like a laser on that. So other stuff I just enjoy here and there, but comics is it.
Those are some very, very cool and interesting hobbies and interests that you have. I mean, the Victorian era gadgets and such that the engineering pieces and the money as well. I don't get into old currency, but when I travel, I'll take a $20 bill and I'll have wherever country I'm in change that into the local currency, and then I put a little zipper pouch into a thing that I have, just to kind of show the different types of money, values at the time that I did it. But travel is obviously something I enjoy doing.
Yeah, when I was younger, I actually collected coins when I was a kid. This is even right when I started experiencing comics for the first time. I was collecting coins with my dad, and I had the booklets, and I had the price guide, and I would sort through some, and I would buy one at the antique shop or something once in a while when I was younger. So I really sort of have a soft spot for old coins. So maybe I'll get back into that someday. But look, my passion is comics, and I don't feel the need to supplement it or diversify it. I love comic books so much that I just focus on that. So, and
Yeah.
I think everybody, most people in like the real world think we're crazy, but that's why I love this. Like, you guys get it. Everybody in the chat, you guys totally get what I'm saying. So, yeah.
Very much so, and I share the hyper focus with you as well. I mean, ever since I got into pressing, it's pretty much been all encompassing between, curating my own collection, buying and selling books, buying books and improving them, pressing for other people. Yeah, it becomes kind of like your second life.
Absolutely. Yeah, one habit's enough.
One vice, right?
Yeah. As Diaz says, if you win the lottery, sure.
Oh, very much so. So when you guys, okay, so we'll keep obviously on the topic of comic books. It's more of a comic book centric show, but we'll say, how do you guys approach collecting when you go after, when you're collecting comics? Is it primarily keys? Do you go after runs? Do you collect the last issue of the run, or find the keys in the run first? What kind of way do you guys go about it? Man cave?
Well, I do like keys for sure, and I have hunted many a key, but I do within that I also like various runs or genres. And if anybody knows me, I'm going for Hitler cover runs for Golden Age, which is not an easy one to finish. There's about 70 or so, which I have about 35 of. And
actually, I saw one on Golden Age Guru's auction today. There was a Hitler
Boy
movie.
Comics.
No, actually, I want to say it had what's his name? Fighting Yank on it. It might have been a Starling Comics or something like that.
Maybe,
But
I'm
yeah,
not sure.
Yeah, but I would hit him up if that's not one that you have.
Well, I'm in no rush. There's so many right now. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm aiming for a Super Snipe 8, which is on Comic Link right now, and Low Grade Power Comics 2, which is LB Cole Hitler cover, and this is a really low grade one. It's actually restored, but to me, it'll be a much more reasonable price than what it usually goes for, which is insane. Right. And the other runs I go for are nuclear bomb covers or any sort of. I like Cold War covers. I'm not going for everything Cold War, but certainly superhero related Cold War or nuclear bomb related ones.
Yeah.
And so that is sort of the thing I'm going for. Other than that, Bronze Age DC horror and some runs of the Golden Age. Like I'm trying to get Spy Smasher done. I have about 3 more left of that. But World War II era and earlier superhero is definitely my biggest focus.
It's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
Okay, so my approach to comic collecting, like I've never been one to single out the like low print last copy of a run just because it's a low print. I was always, I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I was always one of those ones where I was like, either it's the last comic because it was getting canceled, probably because it sucked, or it's a low print second cover because it's not the first print. Like I was always I want the first print, or like I want the good comics, not like necessarily the last comic because it's the last comic and it's lower printed. But that's just the side. I like to hunt, so I like to go out and find the books as much as possible. Like if there's a book I'm going for, like say Action Comics 252, the first Supergirl. If I really want that book, I'm probably not going to be able to find it in my area. So I'm in like antique shops, pawn shops, any kind of comic or hobby shop that I can find, and then asking them. Even like I go into baseball card shops or record shops and ask them, do you guys have any comics, or do you know anyone who has comics? Here's my number. Please let me get in touch with your comic book friends. And then here's a tip that I was going to tell people. I met some of the most crazy people or some of the coolest people with crazy comic book collections by simply looking on eBay in an area for similar hobbies. Like, I'm not looking for comic books. I'm looking for similar hobbies, like pulp magazines or action figures or trading cards or something like that. So I'll search those things, and then I will ask that person in the, ask the seller a question. Do you by any, I notice you have a lot of pulp magazines. Do you by any chance have any same era comic books? And that's how I found the older gentleman in my town. He didn't sell any comic books online. He said he hates selling comic books online because the comic book buyers are so picky. They were giving him bad reviews because he would say something's really nice condition and it would show up to be a good condition, like a 3.0, and they'd be pissed, So asking people of related hobbies or similar parallel hobbies if they have any comic books. And I've been very, very successful with finding collections that way.
Actually, that's all great information. I want to touch back on that again when we get back into that. But before we do that, I want to go to Diaz. So, Diaz, what's your
Alex? Way to not answer the question like a politician.
Yeah. I've got
I was like, did I hear the right question or what the?
I've got the ones that I'm good at answering, and that's how I spin it into like what I'm good at talking about.
So you watch the previous videos and you're like, I like that question. I'm going to answer that. Whenever
it's going to be this one.
Yeah.
Superman number 7.
What about it?
Not yet.
That's what he's going for.
I'll wait.
So Diaz, what about you? Are you a key hunter, a cover hunter, a run hunter?
Well, since I got back in the hobby maybe 6 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago, whatever, and I have changed so much, so many times into such a different person in the hobby now than when I got back in that I never am sure I'm going to be the same collector again in another 6 to 12 months or whatever. But currently, I don't know, currently sort of what I'm focused on is dark golden age that's rare and in decent condition. I want something that's, really something that's tough to find and in good shape, and it's just a really rare, dark, creepy, sort of horror themed cover from the golden age. But I'm also pretty hardcore about bronze DC horror, and I've picked up a lot of that in the last year and a half. So I've got, those are like my two PC stuff that I go after. And, I'm really starting to find myself over the last few months going after like Silver Age keys as like short to medium term investments. I do like that stuff. I just don't collect it because I don't have enough money to go around for everything that I want.
So you had a lot of luck with finding those Silver Age keys that you hold short term?
Yeah, I mean, usually what I do is for stuff like that, I try to find books that are just awesome blue chip investments. And then I try to get them for like anywhere from 10 to 20% below FMV. So that once I buy it, I'm already in the money on it, and it's a hot book and it's moving up. So I get in it, I'm already in the money and it's moving up. Something like FF48, which I got recently. So stuff like that, I bought that FF1. That was a similar type thing. So I'm really starting to dig that kind of stuff. But I still really like dark golden age cover stuff that's rare. And that's predominantly what I target. But that stuff is super popular. And when it comes up, there's feeding frenzies like crazy. And it's really hard to score those at what I consider to be a reasonable price. I'm fine playing the game on the Silver Age key market because there's GPA and there's a ton of people in that market, and you can jump in and mix it up with everybody. But when these dark GA books pop up and one goes for a 7.0 goes for 4,000, and then 2 months later a 7.0 goes for 12,000.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah, it's a smaller group.
Hard to plan out.
Yeah, so it's too volatile to just jump into that stuff. So that stuff's really slowed down for me, even though that's my main passion. And then so what I've done is moved into some of these other areas, bronze horror and some of the silver keys. And I don't have a ton of silver keys, but I have, an infinite number more than I did last year. You know what I mean? Because I had none. Now I got a few. So
DS brings up a good.
I usually prefer to hunt from home online, talk to people on Instagram, try to find stuff there. eBay, I love eBay. I find deals on eBay all the time. Auction sites, there's a lot more auction sites. I mean, out there besides just the big three that we always talk about. Craigslist, stuff like that might require me to go pick it up or something. I'm not really a fan of digging through long boxes or making these long day trips to hit a bunch of different spots. But when I'm out and about, I might stop somewhere and check it out. But I'm definitely not an in the wild sort of hunter. I like to plan everything from like my home base, and then if it requires me to go somewhere to fetch something, I will. But I'm not the kind of guy that like goes out without a plan and just sort of like looks everywhere and hunts stuff down in the wild. I'm not good at that.
Well, it doesn't make sense for your collecting goals. I mean, if you're looking for that, that kind of book, I mean, even if you're turning stuff to get the money, to get the capital, to pick those up. But yeah, if there's no sense in you spending a day at an LCS, 3 hours away, if they're not going to have anything that you're looking for.
Yeah, and my style, I don't ever go to an LCS. If I'm out of town, I'll go check one out, but I usually rarely buy anything. So yeah, I'm not an LCS guy. When I go to cons, I don't go to that many, but I try to go to 2 a year. And then when I'm at cons, I never dig through boxes. I never spend time digging through. I just can't. I don't have the wherewithal and the patience to do that. So I've sort of honed my collecting style on hunting other ways, and it's been successful. I mean, I'm a minimalist too, so that helps. I can pick up one book a month, but if it's a good deal, it's cool. I don't need to be buying stuff as much as I used to. So.
It lends your style, what you're hunting lends itself to actually eBay being a good source. If you're looking for something that has a lot of examples of, you're usually going to spend too much on it. But when you're looking for something that you have no idea what the value is because there hasn't been a sale in forever, you can actually just sort of get an idea of what you're willing to spend on it, and if it seems reasonable, you go for it. Because there's not a lot of similar houses in your neighborhood with similar.
And I consider myself, comps on. I'm a collector. I'm a flipper. I do very little spec. I do some investing, but what really defines my style these days is opportunist. I'm just an opportunist. I'm just looking for good deals on good books, and I just try to keep resources ready to take advantage of stuff that pops up. So I'm sort of like an ambush opportunist in the hobby. That's sort of what I am these days, and it's fun. It's not like a lot of heavy action day to day, but it's like big hits here and there. So yeah, that's how I do it. It works for me, and it's unique, and I'm sure by next year when I talk to you guys, it'll be completely different. So.
That makes a lot of sense. So that's obviously really pushing yours and Alex's comments are really pushing to our next question about where do you find that you do the most buying. But before we get into that and hear from Man Cave, we're just going to hit up the chat here. We've had some people jump in. We've got the Immortal Biggie Shack is in here. I think I shouted out D-Runk earlier. TJ. Throwing shame on everybody else. Welcome, TJ. And Kachung and Delphia are also in here. And for those of you who aren't aware, I've been doing these shows pretty much every few days, and we have a lot of shows lined up. But one I'm very happy about. In 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to have our couples show that's going to showcase Kachung and Delphia, Married with Issues, and the Comicholics. So that's going to be a lot of fun, getting to see how couples collect and how they go about their hunting strategies. So, Man Cave. So we've heard from Alex and we've heard from DS on how they go about doing their buying. How about you? I mean, you buy a lot of Golden Age books. Where do you find that you're getting the best buying case? Is it through auction sites? Is it eBay? Is it an LCS? Or
I mean, DS can comment, but you can get good deals on auctions. Actually, people always think you're going to spend a ton on auctions. You bid what you feel is reasonable, and sometimes people are sleeping, and you get a good deal on a very good comic. You just have to have a price point in mind. If you start getting in a battle, that's when you can go way higher than you meant to. But so yes, I do go on auctions quite a bit, eBay as well, because I'm looking for some rare stuff. So, a lot of times they have best offers, and usually they're going to ignore your offers. But if you're paying attention, you can get some reasonably good deals. And the Instagram community, I've bought a ton of stuff from Stray Flex, and I've bought from Simon, Golden Age Guru, and they're willing to make deals. They're not, sometimes they want more than I feel it's worth or not. But there's a lot of things in the community that I can get.
So Simon being Simple Simon Comics?
Yeah, no, Simon, the one who does all the
Simon,
timely.
yeah.
I just got
He's
this
the
from
guy.
him recently. Just bought this from him.
What's his name?
Jesse Simon.
Jesse Simon, yeah.
Jesse Simon.
It's Joe Simon's nephew, I think.
Yep.
Grandson.
Yep.
Grandson, Joe Simon's grandson.
Yeah, related to Joe Simon and
Kirby.
That's fantastic.
And Stray Flex, and I've got a lot of good esoteric comics from him. Yaniv, he's very knowledgeable. And LCS, so my current X-Men, giant size X-Men, they had it graded lower than I thought, and I thought it was pressable, and they put it at a 5.0. I got it pressed and graded, and it was a 6.0. And they were selling it about GPA for a 5.0, so I got a good deal there. Most of my bronze collection I got at LCS's years ago for way cheaper than they are now.
Oh, sure.
So for a lot of my more recent comics, I didn't have to travel far. I wasn't hunting. I was just going to the place on my way to work. So, but they are more you can get bad deals too. I mean, you have to pay attention. They'll overprice or undergrade or overgrade or not even notice. Once they didn't notice color touch on a comic that had color touch, and that was annoying. But
that's a tough thing to spot, right?
Yeah.
And especially with, restoration and color touch and things like that. Some of the amateur stuff, it's a little bit easier to notice, right? You can kind of like the differences in the color, variations. Somebody just had a pen, right? And it obviously doesn't match up, things like that. But like spotting real restoration is incredibly difficult, right? Like tear seals and professional color touch, things like that. I mean, I got lucky one time. A buddy had bought an Amazing Spider-Man number 50, and he's like, check how clean this is. And I looked at it, and I'm like, this is too clean. This is absolutely too clean. I started looking closer, and I started seeing the stress cracks, that were in there that they tried to improve, and it had been trimmed, things like that. So, have you guys had difficulty with spotting restoration? And obviously restoration is far more likely in the golden age than it is, in any other age, and is not as frowned upon as, let's say, color touch in the Silver Age book.
Unless you're DS, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you,
DS is way too picky. I'm much less picky than DS. I'll take the rest.
I'm picky, and it's sort of it's partially OCD, and it's partially every single book I buy. I am thinking of the present ownership of it and then the future selling of it. Those both are like happening contemporaneously with every purchase I make. And I just know that having a restored book is awesome. But then down the road, I just foresee issues that I don't want to deal with it. So look, I don't knock anybody who.
It is a lesser investment. No one's going to argue with you on that one.
I mean, it's lesser in money. It may not be a lesser investment, but look, I'm not going to knock anybody who collects a restored book. It's cheaper and more affordable, and some stuff's so rare that, I sort of hurt myself in a way because there's some books I have had chances to get restored or incomplete or conserved copies, and I've passed. And other people are picking up awesome books that fit, their grails, and here I am. I still don't have that book or this book because I'm too stubborn.
Well, you're particular about it, not stubborn.
Yeah, there's no wrong. It's good to be.
Yeah, but but this is the two things that I have changed the most. Is number one, I don't do want lists anymore. I have no specific target in mind. I'm just a pure opportunist. So I can pass up on a rare restored book because it's equally as good of a target as the next one that comes along that's not restored. So I don't have a want list that's sort of narrowing my ability to sort of mix it up out there in the hobby. So I'll just pass on stuff that doesn't meet certain requirements and then pick up stuff that does. And it doesn't matter to me what issue it is because I'm not trying to collect a run or like a superhero first appearances or anything like that. It's just whatever. And the other thing is discipline. I know who I am as a collector today. I know what I want to do, and it's really tough. I still slip up, but to have discipline to stick to your system, stick to your requirements. If you're bidding on an auction, know how much your max is, and don't go over it. And then don't beat yourself up when your max was, 22.75 and it sells for 22.85. And because then what that does, it seeps in, and the next time you bid 22.95, and then before you know, you're paying 24.50, and you're $300, 50% over what you want to pay or whatever. So I'm disciplined. I just stick to my system. I have my requirements, and I pass on a lot of cool stuff. I do. There's a lot of cool stuff I let go, and some of that stuff I may never get another chance at. But I'm all right.
Yes, your system is like mine. You don't have a specific want list, but my want list, I look at it this way. My want list is about 400 comics, so I don't have to be specific. It's like if it comes, it's there. I know I'll have other opportunities, and it makes it so I have so many targets that I don't have to feel obsessed about getting that one target. I could, AF-15 was going to be a gold mine this year, but that comic's gone up suddenly in the grade I want it. It's gone up a lot in the last 2 weeks, literally. It had come down from 2018 and been sort of flat, and now it's gone up because of that Ditko signature 5.5 that sold on Heritage. It's confused everybody. But anyway, don't get me started. So I'm like, that's fine. I'm going to leave that one alone, and I have 200 other targets that I can take up any moment now. So it doesn't. I don't feel obsessed about that.
Everybody knows the difference in feeling when that book comes along and you're like, that is perfect. This is exactly the book that this is exactly perfect. It's like, it nails it. And then there's other books that are like, man, it's really cool. I really want that. And it's like a desire for it to really want it, but it's not like, it doesn't hit the spot like exactly over the top like some other stuff. And I've found by passing up on stuff that I really want, but I'm not over the moon about this opportunity for this one, right around the corner comes something else that I'm like, thank God I passed up on that book. I made the right decision. And I've got so many books like Mask 1, Dynamic Comics 8, Starling 49. Some of these I would not have gotten if I would have bought stuff that was almost as good right before that. I'm just disciplined, and when in doubt, I just pass. That's sort of like my system.
So let's go to Alex for a second and talk about the restoration piece. I mean, how do you feel about picking up comics that have restoration?
So I think for me it's relative to the collector. If you can get for me, if I could get an affordable Batman #1 that's restored, I would probably go for it. Or I've got the Showcase 4 that's qualified. It had a coupon cutout. It's still, to me, so my rationale for that is it is still a Showcase 4.
Yeah.
The coupon was intended to cut out. It had the little ink perforation marks on it. It was intended for somebody to cut that out. Yep. It's entombed in the case. It's entombed in the slab. And I've read it digitally 20 times. I just love that book. So you
could probably marry a coupon to it.
Yeah,
probably not. Get that
little tear seal.
I've got two
That'd be ridiculous.
Of restoration. One is I didn't know that there was restoration on it, and Paul, Midwest Comic Man, he presses my books. He caught it, and he said there's a little glue here. He caught it under a black light. And he caught it, and he tried to remove it. And if he removed it any further, it would have taken a big chunk off the back. And I said, send it in the way it is. I got the book from Doug Hazelwood, the inker from DC. It was an Avengers 1. Got it from Doug Hazelwood. He was the inker off on the Death of Superman stuff. And so I didn't care that it came back restored. But now it's it's a 2.5 restored. So I'm like, well, it's like a $700-800 book. I could get. I wish I had a 2.5, 3.0 non-restored Avengers #1 because it's not really that relative to other books in its category. It's not really that expensive. The next example of a restoration, which it was on the docket to get pressed, cleaned, and graded because it was really high grade Mr. Miracle #1 from 1970, 71, whatever that book was, that Jack Kirby. And I checked all my books thoroughly, opened it up, and I noticed these little black lines in the inside of the cover, really close to the spine. And I looked on the outside of the book, back on the inside, kept going back and forth. And sure enough, there was some nice darker spots on the outside, and you can tell that it just bled through. So
A lot of times it will go through the cover.
yeah, it's one of those books. I love how nice it looks, but it's like it almost doesn't exist in my collection anymore. Like it's just like the stepchild, like dang it, You're
Which comic is it?
What's that?
Which comic was it?
Mr. Miracle #1.
Oh yeah,
it was such a cool book, but I don't want to get it graded. I don't want to invest any money into it. I don't like it's just kind of pushed off to the side so I can get an actual copy.
To me, the more modern the comic is, the more I don't like resto on it. I mean,
sure, yeah, that makes sense.
don't, if it's a Bronze Age comic of resto, I would just be like,
well, and the extent of the restoration too. Like, I would take a Batman #1 or a big Grail with ton of restoration. Like I had a 0.5 AF-15, and I asked the really prominent lady who does the restoration stuff. Can't remember what her name is, but I asked her, and she said she wouldn't take it because it was just too far gone. It was a blue label, 0.5, and she wouldn't take it to restore it. But it would have been like pieces added, leaf casted, reinforced, glue. It would have been everything under the sun to get that thing back into shape. But it was just one of those things where it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
A detective, 27, fully restored underneath my nose for the right price. I'm not going to scoff at it. I'll just say
there's something else in other hobbies like antique type stuff. And you all know it's not some crazy word, just patina. And for antique guns, that patina you want there. You don't want it polished or restored.
Like the bluing and stuff.
You can re-blue those, right? And usually people don't, care too much about it. It doesn't right on the price.
For comic books, though, for me, the type of restoration matters. If I buy a raw Golden Age book, which I did recently, 2 of them, and found restoration on it that wasn't cosmetic, I'm okay with it. One I just sent in to get slabbed, and it got purple. And the other one I sent off to get it removed because it's a much more important book to me. But the cosmetic restoration to me it bothers me. I would rather see the chunks missing, the spine ticks, the wear on a Golden Age book, because it's sort of like the patina. Yeah, I know it hurts the grade and it hurts the value, but there's a genuine articleness to it. And yeah, it doesn't look as good or sell for as much as one of these 9.8 Franken books, like the Hulk 1 in a 9.8 extensively restored. I mean, that's worth a ton of money, but I wouldn't own that because you look at that book, you don't know if you're looking at what's the book and what's new stuff that was at. It's just, I would rather be completely torn up and be legit and genuine article. I call it honest wear. Books that have honest wear is cool with me. I'd rather not have chunks missing or detached covers or rusty staples, so I try to stay away from that. But books that have honest wear, it's fine by me. It's sort of like the comic book version of patina. It hurts the grade, it hurts the value, but there's a genuineness about it that I appreciate. And especially for Golden Age stuff, that stuff's so old and antique anyway. It looks cool. There's something off to me when I see people with like a 9.6 pre-code horror book in a blue label. I know that's like a file copy or it's a mile high copy, but it's just something about it looks off. You know what I mean? There should be chunks missed. There should be crease. There should be spine. Like it
should be tore up.
That's where I feel. But yes, I would want the 9.6. But
when you think about the age, and the wear that just exposure to elements for a book that's damn near 100 years old, right? We're definitely getting close to that mark. It's between 80 and 90 years old for that book. Yeah, you should expect to see some kind of damage to it just in general.
Yeah, I agree with DS. I still buy restored because that's the opportunity that presents itself a lot of the time. But if I have my comeuppance, I'm getting a 1.5 blue label over a 7.0 restored any day of the week, Monday, any day. But sometimes collectors know this, so you're going to get it cheaper. A restored grade, even looking beautiful, is going to be cheaper for a big Golden Age book than a 1.5, generally speaking.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Fuchsia. Yeah, it does tell a story of its own, like what it's been through in its lifetime.
But if I really wanted, like a Tech 31 or I don't know, some massive book that I can't afford, but I could afford a restored version, maybe just barely. I would rather not own it at all, and just there's other stuff I can love just as much out there. So I'm not tied to a particular book. So there's books that I can only afford a restored copy of it, and that means I am not going to own that book anytime soon. My goal is to work up to a position where I can afford that book in a legit, albeit low condition. But until then, for me, like low grade better than no grade, or restored better than not having it at all. I would rather not have it at all and just not be able to enjoy that book and go after other stuff. Because I feel like when you buy a book and you own a book that you love, to me, it doesn't matter if it's this book that you love or that book that you love. There's any number of books that I'll love, and I'm not married to any particular target. So, I pass on a lot of stuff that doesn't meet my requirements, and look, that might mean I might never own that book, and I'm cool with that. It's okay.
Yes. Let me comment on your no grade or low grade is better than no. I used to be in that camp. Like, I will get the book in a 2.0, 1.0, or whatever, just to fill that spot, experience it, and have it. I've got one of the books on my list is an upgrade on this first Supergirl Action 252 because I got a 2.0 and I freaking hate it. I hate it so bad. Like,
I'll take that off your hands, buddy.
I literally took it out of my office over there, and I was gonna show it, and I just put it right back in the box because I was like, I feel like this thing is falling apart in the slab. I hate looking at this thing. The another one is like Flash 110. I love that book. I got it from Good Old Comics or whatever. He was doing his auction, and he just flies through those books. He's like ADD, and he's just flying through these books like so fast. Love the guy. And he showed the book, and I knew I wanted it, and it was like 200 something bucks, and I was like, claim it. I want it. It came to me, and it was like the staple. It was probably detached by now because the staples were rusting and like bleeding into the book, and I was like, I hate this book. I hate having, like, I wanted this so bad, but I hate this copy of it.
Yeah,
So,
low grade. When I say low grade,
up.
when I say low grade is not better than no grade, it depends on the book and the era and whatever. Like, low grade is different for me for like Suspense Comics 3 than for a Silver Surfer 4. For me, a Silver Surfer 4 and a 2.0, I would rather not have it. It's still an awesome book to own, but I feel like I can obtain a better copy of that.
Sure.
2.0 of Suspense Comics 3, hell, I would take a 1.0.
Oh yeah.
Completely split, detached with a chunk missing. I mean, that would be awesome. For that book, the low grade is defined much differently. So it's just like, I don't want to go below what I set for the requirements for a certain book just to be able to say I have it. I don't care to say that I have something specific. I just care to get cool stuff that overall I'm pleased with. And the grade varies depending on the book. But yeah, that one that Alex held up, I would take a complete beat 0.5 on that. I would take it. But you know what? I wouldn't take a restored. If a heavily restored copy was in my price range, I would pass on it, honestly.
I have the biggest difficulty with.
I got that one.
I have the biggest difficulty with.
I would take a restored grade of that one.
Missing pieces, right? When there's chunks missing out of a book, it bothers me. It's like I'm like, okay, it's a filler, right? Like, but I'm still gonna keep it on the list, as like I need to get a better copy of that. But I have to resign myself to knowing when I start stepping into that golden age, and those books, finding books, fully complete is more difficult. Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Depends on how big a chunk too.
Yeah, exactly.
Corner off or.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, corner off the back, probably not going to bother me as much as a corner off the front, So I have to get into that, that mindset that like, okay, when it comes to this age of books, anything, pre-50 is going to have to, I'm going to have to start taking some different swaths with that, especially, when you get to the keys, right? Because those keys, they're, incredibly expensive in the mid grade, and in the low grade, they're still pretty damn expensive. So, I want to shift this conversation along to a question that we had from Thunderhouse, or a comment, I want to say, from Thunderhouse. Going back to something you said before, DS, about philosophy about like letting books go. Like, oh, I tried for it, not a big deal, I let it go. But so the fear of missing out, right? The FOMO, right? That's been a big topic for at least for the last 6 months, 6-8 months. that I've been seeing, amongst community members on YouTube talking about these different things, and that idea that's like, and specifically with, we've seen a significant amount of books increase in value and increase in price over the last year, right? Lots of contributing factors to that, right? Having a lack of untracked sales like we have in the past has not been the case this last year, right? Almost everything has been tracked because there's almost no sales happening, like at cons and stuff like that, where a strong majority of those sales was actually happening. But that being said, we're seeing a lot of books go up in value considerably, right? Chasing higher values constantly. How do you guys fight that feeling where it's like, you really want to get after this book, you really want to get this book, but do you feel that you're missing out, or how do you resolve letting a book go and then knowing that it's going to go for a higher, that it's gone up in price and now it seems unattainable?
Well, I mean, I'm happy for that.
Let's let Alex start with this one.
I'll be quick. Then I'm nervous because I don't have the discipline to sell stuff and get the book that I want. I watched Comics with Bonix all last year, and I was with him every step of the way. He'd say, "Hey man, I'm going to think about selling these 3 books, and then I'll be 50% of the way to my AF-15." I don't have the discipline right now. I need Tim, or I need my wife to just take control of my collection and be like, "This book sucks. This book sucks. This book sucks. I'm going to sell all these for you, and then I'm going to gift you a nice book, a book that you'll actually want." But I'm continuously buying. I've got the ADD in comics where I'm just like, "Oh, that looks cool." "Oh crap, I'm at this antique shop and there's this Fantastic Four, not even a key, but it's a Silver Age for $30. So I better buy that." So anyway.
But did you already have it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. already have a copy of it, and just because it's there and I'm there at the same time, and I have a 20 and a 10 in my pocket, I'll make the deal type thing. But anyways, I'll let someone else answer. But yes, I am nervous for those inflating prices because I don't have the discipline to make moves right now because I'm spending my comic book budget, and yeah, you guys know how it is.
Yeah, the fear of missing out is real. But I don't worry about comics that I don't really want. It's like, if I didn't really want it in the first place and it goes up in value.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to buy TMNT 1 years ago. I don't really, it would have been a great investment, but I'm not interested in Ninja Turtles. No offense to anybody who is. Great. It's a great investment if you had it, but
yeah, I feel bad.
I found myself thinking maybe I should buy it. And then I'm like, I don't like, it's not interesting to me. So
same. It's not my, I loved the cartoon when I was little. I grew up with it. I grew up with the video game. Trust me, me and 3 other friends were playing that video game every week at the arcade. It's just not my collecting goal.
But for instance, X-Men 1 recently went up in value somewhat, and that is a comic I really want. I used to have it. I traded it in for a bigger book, and I wanted to get it back. And right when I was ready to get it back, it started going up, and I ended up buying it for higher than GPA when I finally bought it. Luckily, it's actually gone way beyond that. But I was initially thinking, damn, I just chased this book as it's going up like crazy. And it was a total fear of missing out towards sort of if I just settled down. If I still did all right, though, because it actually went up even more. But at the time, I'm looking at how much I bought it for compared to what DS bought the same grade for just 4 weeks earlier. I'm thinking, Jesus.
Kavi, nobody's hating on TM.
Not DS. I said DS. I meant D-Runk. D-Runk bought a 4.5 for much less from Elite Comics, which he literally bought that 10 minutes before I claimed it. so then I got one on auction for significantly more, but it's gone beyond that. But it hits me too, and you got to be disciplined. You got to just say.
All right, so everybody in the chat, nobody's hating on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're just saying.
Yeah. Love those turtles. Great covers, but yeah.
Look, books go up, and some books come back down, and new books pop, and it's sort of like I feel like it's a river of prices. Like the river's just moving along, and prices are going up, and the river's moving. But you're in the river collecting this stuff, and I just try to, use my paddles and my boat and my energy to try to move faster than the river's going, and eventually I can catch anything that's floating along in the river if I am creative enough and paddle hard enough to get there. And a lot of people, I feel like they hamper their ability to quote paddle up, in the river to catch a floating object that keeps going further away, because if you get too emotionally attached and you can't let go of books. I mean, everybody has books you can take, you got some book for $10 or $1,000 and you've hit a home run on value, but people don't want to let go of it. Man, let it go, take some profits on that, put it back to use on something else, put it back to work. And those are like paddles to help you get down the river, because there's these big books like the X-Men 1 or Ep.3 floating on the river, and it's just going to keep moving. You have to move faster to catch up. So it doesn't matter if books raise, it matters how you are creative and aggressive in the hobby to move faster ahead than these books are going ahead. And I've done that. I haven't put any additional money into the hobby for me in years, and I make $400 to $500 a week at my day job, and I just use the comics are self-sustaining, and I have no problem at this point letting books go, even if I love it, because it helps me get another book I love that might be even better. So emotional attachment, not letting stuff go, not wanting to take a risk, like buy a press some, just buy a press. Yeah, maybe it'll be a waste of $150. Maybe you'll fuck up books. Maybe you'll decide you don't want to do it anymore. So what? Take the risk. It's worth a shot. You know what I mean?
There's always dollar books you can work on.
181 and at a huge profit, even though you really love it. And try to get something else. Like try it. It might not work out. That's all right. You're going to end up with cool stuff no matter what. But you get too tied to what you're too afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And then the river, the stuff, the X-Men 1 floating on the river just gets out of sight. And there you are still in the same spot. So take some risks, take some chances, be creative, try some new things. Look, I'm no expert at all. I've been doing this for a few years, but I have books that are way outside my life economic situation. Do you know what I mean? I work at a restaurant. I don't make that much money, and I'm buying $5,000 to $10,000 books now. And my plan is to get bigger where I can buy $20,000 books. But that means I got to sell some of this stuff, might have to sell my Starling 49, might have to sell my Terrific 5 or my Mask 1 or something. I don't know. Just try different things and be creative. And that's what I think. It's not always going to work out, but it's like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Unless you're
definitely you're my hero, DS, in that you don't mind. You like having that comic with you for a little bit. It's in transit. You enjoy it, and then you're like, okay, time to go. I gotta go.
Well, I mean, you guys know I get books that I absolutely go nuts over, and then a month later I put them up for sale.
Yeah, you know what? My dad
bought books for like $300, and then somebody offers me $3,500. Doesn't really matter how much I love it, because that's like $2,000 free to work on, and I'll buy something else I love. So what's the difference? I'll replace one love with another love, and then I'll have $2,000 extra to work with if I get something bigger.
My dad
suspense number 3, then you can just die happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I think. Like when I get a Suspense 3 and a Fantastic 3 and maybe a Tech 31, what do I do then? I don't know. Maybe I'll start checking on moderns and try something new then. I'll go out and I don't know. But I mean, it's
the weekly polls.
Yeah. I don't know.
Weekly polls of the death of the vintage collector.
Yeah, it's fun. Even look, you're not always going to succeed, and sometimes you'll. Look, I let go of a lot of big books. I don't regret getting rid of any of them. There's a couple that I'm like, would have been cool if I kept it, but I still wouldn't have kept it this long because I would have ultimately sold it again anyway, second time.
Chat may not know, but DS is actually my biggest. He provides me with all my modern comics. Yeah. Here's me one of them. Here's one DS sample here. I get more modern comics from DS than anybody else.
I've never regretted any books that I've sold. When I think back in the last 5 or 6 years, my regrets are books or chances I didn't take. It's not the stuff I've sold. I mean, I don't regret any of that really. But the one where I didn't want to pick it up, or I let it go, or I waited too long, or I wasn't sure about the price, or it felt right, but it was a lot of whatever. Like I regret stuff that I didn't do. I never regret the stuff that I did do, the stuff I did sell. It's whatever, man.
I guess I'm too clingy because when I gave up X-Men 1, I was thinking, I got to get that back.
Well, I mean,
But I don't regret giving it up at the time because I needed the funds to get a bigger book. But I was always planning on getting it.
Well, hey, I had a Black Cat Mystery 50 in a 7.
Yeah.
Okay, 7.0. Now, I doubled my money on that in like 7 months. Do I wish I still had it? Yeah, but you know what? I did have it. I used to have it, and I can always, sit back on my rocker on my porch one day when I'm old and say, I remember I used to have that 7.0.
You probably have a picture of it too. You could
got a bunch of profit and got cool stuff. One of which was the Starling 49 out of that, honestly.
Yeah, that's a big book.
So, yeah, I mean, that was a huge book to sell, but whatever. I mean, so what? There's other cool stuff.
My father, he was a custom car builder. And he would always, he'd have his own car, and he'd always be tinkering with it or whatever. He'd, customize it and do cool stuff like chop the top, lower it, that kind of stuff. Cut cool paint. But he was never a person that if somebody walked up and said, "Hey, I got 30 grand cash for your car," he'd be like, "Here's the pink slip. There you go." It doesn't matter how much work you put into, how much effort you put into it, right? To his position, it was just a piece of tin, right? It was, to him, it was something that it was advertising for him, for what he could do, as well as an opportunity to make some money. And I think it's an admirable philosophy that you have, DS, and not one shared with many. Either watching this video or out in the hobby.
I think a lot of people do that. I mean, Houdat, Stray Flex, and Simon, all those guys that I was just mentioning, they're selling books to get bigger books quite a bit.
Well, no, not that part. I think we all do that, right? But I think there's some of us, like myself included, right, who get a book and go, "Oh, I know I can get that book for this price, and I'm going to be able to flip that for more money."
Gotcha.
And then there's going to be I've got that book. Do I really want to sell it now?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's me. So I'll have this book right here, and I say I have $1,000 into this book, and then someone comes along and's like, "I'll give you $2 grand for it," and I'm like, "You'll pay $2 grand for? I'm keeping this bad boy. It's $2 grand." I wish I was more like DS.
I think I'm more like you, Alex.
I'm more active now that you want it. I want it now too.
Well, I have a book. Look, there's one book I have that's the one book people hit me up about the most on Instagram. It's my all new Comics 8. I can pull it out if y'all want to see it, but I think Alex knows what I'm talking about. So I got that book for $1,400. Okay, and I have been offered $5,000 for it. And time is still going on because I haven't sold it. But the first offer of $5 grand I got was, I don't know, a couple months after I paid $1,400 for it. I can't bring myself to sell that book because I freaking love it so much, and it's so rare, and it's such a good investment. So there's exceptions. There, like my Dynamic 8. If somebody's like, put a number on it, I would be afraid to put a number on it because I'd be afraid they would say yes. You know what I mean? So there are exceptions. Mm-hmm. There are a handful of books that I would be afraid to even put a crazy price on it because somebody might say yes. But most of the other stuff, it's if you can help yourself progress budgetarily, most of us aren't made of money. So the only way you're going to be able to get bigger books is if you figure out where to get bigger money from. But some people bought FF48 and a 9.0 like 5 years ago, and they paid like $1,000 for it, and they're still sitting on it. Man, that's a $10,000 book or $7,000. Like, man, that's a huge chunk of change you can use for something else. Like you've enjoyed that book for a while. You'll always be able to remember having it. Like, you can go get other stuff. Is that the best book ever? And then you see all these other books that you're like, the prices are rising. I missed out on this and missed out on that. Take some of the other stuff that you've made value on and turn it loose, man, and then go after something bigger, and you can keep doing that. And I don't know, it's fun to do that even when you miss out sometimes, or you screw it up, or you make a mistake. It's part of the fun.
Yes, whip that comic out already, mother. Whip that comic out.
What?
Yes,
whip that comic out.
Oh, the all new?
Yeah.
All right, let me grab it. It should be easy to find. I only have like 60
You can't be throwing that out there if you want.
Stop teasing people, man.
Tease.
I got a little nervous when I started seeing "whip it out" in the comments.
It's
not
not
that kind of show.
On comic worries because I only have a few books. It's easy to find. Yeah, this one. So it's super rare.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Beautiful. And then that's a great grade for that one.
Yeah. Now this is a really rare book. There's less than 20 on the census, and there's only a couple higher graded than this. And this is a Schomburg cover. It's like a poor man's suspense 3, they say. But yeah, highly, highly sought after. So it has such good investment value, and it's such an awesome book.
It's such a pretty copy too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm afraid to let this one
look
go.
nice.
I'm afraid to let this one go. It's
6,000.
too much.
Just
Yeah, see, I mean,
kidding. No, just kidding.
when I was 10,
Whip it out, man, Dave. Whip it out.
you know what? Somebody in the market will say yes, and then I'll be like, damn it. Why did I sell that for 10?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's it.
That's a beauty.
The other one in that category is this that I can't bring myself to sell.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be afraid to put a price on this too.
Yeah, I was watching that at an auction once. It went for a lot. It's a nice comic.
So I have to ask, DS, is there anything that you've bought recently that you do intend to leverage to sell?
Yeah, interesting you should say that because I got mail this morning, which has been sitting here all day while I've been at work.
Oh,
We got a hunt and an unboxing. Let's go for it.
And
Fragile.
Biggie Shack will appreciate this along with everybody else, but I know he will. He'll get a good chuckle out of this. So I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, yeah, that's pretty sweet. I don't need it, but it's a good price. It's a really nice copy, so why not? Pick up another one of these.
Another one.
Yeah.
8.5, man, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's I like them. It's nice and squared up. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty sharp looking spine.
That's the grade I have in that one.
See, my 6.5
But mine is CGC.
My 6.5's got a 1-inch tear on the front cover next to the spine.
So now I've got, do I really need it? No, but I mean, look, I got this for about 12 or 13% below FMV, and it's a really good looking 8.5. So now I've got. So what do I do now? Maybe do I sell the 9.2? Because honestly, this one is up like 60% since I bought it a couple months ago. So I don't know. Maybe I'll sell one of these. I don't know.
60%.
That's one of those solid investment comics, regardless of
I don't know. I'll tell you. I paid $2,100 for this, and I think the last sale was like $3,400.
DS, have you seen a psychologist about the fact that you lost the rainbow cover in Comic Wars, and now you're a rainbow cover hoarder of comics?
I know.
Hold on. We have to get an official. We're going to need to get an official ruling from the authority up there on hoarding. Alex, does this constitute hoarding at this stage yet?
Oh, for DS, yeah. For DS, for sure.
Yeah, DS for sure.
This is the only double I have of anything at all. This is the only one.
I have a double by accident. I was going to trade someone one comic, and before the trade even went through, I got another one because I didn't want to actually not have the comic, and then the trade fell through, so now I have two of them.
So I might have a double here pretty soon too. This may be mine. I half own it right now with Tim, and so I've already got a copy. But
is that from your big? That is one of your big acquisitions, right?
If I get the first round draft pick, this will be mine. If I don't, this will be mine. So we'll have to see which
that makes
one.
Sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I get.
I got a pre-code horror comic here, DS. I got this one recently.
Yeah, let's see it. Yeah, I like that one. That's a dark.
Not truly pre-code horror, but
I love some of those early Caps and Marvel Mysteries and Human Torches, but I don't own any because I'm paying like dark GA price, and I'm competing against people who are paying timely prices. And I'm not.
Timely's going up too. Everybody's getting excited about Timely suddenly.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not trying to buy a timely. I'm trying to buy a cool, dark, creepy cover. I'm not trying to buy an early Cap per se. So that's why I don't have any of those. But yeah, those are badass. I want one, but I just never in the running on the price wise for it.
Yeah, even the one that's gone even more crazy are the right before they switched to Atlas caps, those weird horror caps.
Yeah, Captain America's Weird Tales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
cool.
definitely.
So Bill has a question here, whether or not you still have the art germ book from Comigories. If I recall correctly,
yeah.
you didn't have an art germ book. Wasn't that the case?
I thought you were very clever, DS, and I gave you your vote for that.
Oh, yeah. The art germ. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was art and it had a germ.
That. Yeah, that was one that I bought a 6.5 of that, but it's the color is not as good as my 3.5, and I maybe pulled the trigger too quickly on that. I was too impulsive buying that 6.5, and it wasn't cheap, but I think I'd get my money back out of it. So I'd probably get rid of the 6.5 and just keep the 3.5. But I do have two of those, a horrific one. It's such a structurally nice book, and it's such a nice grade for that book. It's really tough, but it just doesn't look the way it should. And I don't know why. I was impulsive on that and made a mistake. So it happens. It's not a big deal. But my 3.5 looks better than the 6.5. So
I try never to regret. I've made mistakes buying comics for sure. And then I enjoy the comic. I'm just going to enjoy the comic and forget about the past.
Yeah, I'll probably pull 6.5 at some point, but I want to at least get my money back out of it, and I think I can make a little profit on it. It's just a matter of timing. So it's just sitting in the box marinating for now, and hopefully I can make 15% on it. Cut my loss.
As long as you're wiser after the mistake.
If you can make a small profit on a mistake, I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
True, very true. So we're getting long in the shows, and I think everybody is really wanting to know, what are you guys looking for this year? And we'll start with DS, and I think DS, you really kind of said this. You're more of an opportunity buyer, so you haven't really made a quote unquote list for the year of what you're really going for. But let's say if you had to pick one thing that you really want to get by the end of the year, what is it?
Oh,
Comics.
damn.
Wow.
That's a big one, man. That is so hard to get.
That is gorgeous.
That is a rarity.
It's a 1940. I think it's January of 45.
It's not quite Suspense 3, but you're getting close. You're getting into the league of Suspense 3 with that one, DS.
Wow.
Well, I have enough books that I could sell to make it happen. Like a nice copy of this.
Do you know someone who even has it? Those things don't even go on sale that often.
No, they don't. So that is one, and I have one more here that probably. But this one is kind of on the back burner because of the prices. But
Gotcha.
Mask number 2.
Yeah, Mask 2. I have a Mask 1.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you didn't have that? I thought you had that for some reason, but you have Mask 1. Okay.
Yeah. This in like a 2.0 is going for like $5,000. It's not a $5,000 book to me in a 2.0. It's like 35, or at the most if it's a good looking 2.0. So it's outside of what I'm willing to pay for it. So that's cool. There's a lot of other cool stuff I can get, but those are the two that I really
focus for the year. Those are the ones that you'd like to get this year.
Yeah, but I mean, if I don't get them, it's cool. But if they come up, I will make a valiant effort to score one.
Right.
But the Mask 2 is not that rare. It's just the prices are too high. So that one, the Punch 12.
I feel that.
That one's rare. That's legit rare. And
that's legit rare. I've
only come up once a year, and if at most.
Yeah, I bid on that one like 2 years ago, and it just went way above what I was going to pay for that.
So if that comes up, I need to.
I've not seen one since, I think.
Because if I miss that, it could be another 2 years before I see another opportunity.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, Mask 2's all over the place. I just need to match up the copy with the value for me personally, make it work. So I'm not worried about that one. The Punch 12, though, that's tough.
That's awesome. All right, so let's move over to Man Cave. Now, everybody who knows you, has seen you on YouTube, knows you buy whatever you want when you want. At least that's how it appears for us.
Not quite,
right?
but yeah, it's a good year.
So like, what I mean, if you're,
I know what I'm looking for.
Did you make a list?
Yeah, I always have a list.
Okay.
I have a running list constantly. I didn't even have to do anything for a list. My list
I have a book that's like that thick.
Yeah, I have a list based on age and company. I mean, I'll give you the biggies. So I'll start from modern. I only have a few moderns, but I don't have NYX3. I'm looking for that in a 9.0 or higher. And the one you're about to get back, that Legion, Supergirl Legion 23 view. Adam Hughes variant.
Yeah.
Those two are the only modern comics that are sort of on my list just to keep an eye out. For bronze, not much. I really feel like I have most of my bronze, but I keep my for DC Bronze Age horror. There's a number I don't have, and if I see the opportunity, I'll just pick them up. There's nothing specific.
Yeah.
For silver, Marvel, I only have 4 more comics I want. 4. 3 of them I'll definitely get. Avengers 9, X-Men 3, and Amazing Spider-Man 3. AF-15 is the big one, and just like I said, it's gone crazy in price, so I'm going to probably put that on the back burner for now. Silver Age DC, I have about 20 on my list, and the one I'm really going to go for this year is Showcase 4, and try to finish most of that out.
It's a tough book.
For Golden Age, it's wide. There's just so many things, it's hard to even make a list. The Hitler covers I mentioned, and I'm always into tech, pre-Brabant techs and timely, just what opportunity comes up with I would like World War II theme covers, and then I like tech, and then that's about it. But that's a huge genre, to say the least.
Oh, I'm sure. And I like that you mentioned that, you have a specific kind of like, yes, there's tons of Golden Age books that you'd love to get, but you have focus, right? And when you have that, it's not like, the Silver Age was Marvel DC, right?
Right.
So it's like you're buying books in that age group, right? You're buying those books. But when you're talking about the Golden Age, there were so many publishers.
Yeah.
Right? They were turning out books, and so many different books, and different types of books. It's very broad and wide open. And I'm from somebody who doesn't have a lot of Golden Age, who's just starting to get into it. I'm like, I'm actually taking a page out of Alex's book, because it was Alex that I first heard say this is, like when you went after those startling comics, right? You're like, I'm going after one focus, right? I'm like, this is what I'm going to get. I'm going to get this, small group of books, and like for me, I'm looking at superheroes and stuff like that, but I like the idea of like getting those Frazetta Buck Rogers,
Right.
famous funnies, it's a short run. Obviously there's one that, the decent price, but they're not too expensive, not like Phantom Lady or something like that. Yeah. I saw that today. Yeah, that's a cool book. But yeah, I dig Buck Rogers. I mean, huge Buck Rogers fan growing up in the 70s, but then Frazetta, the stuff that he is very cool. How about you, Alex? What's on your list this year?
I'll comment on that about the getting a set, and I got that from DS. I got it from DS, and I can't remember who else, but definitely DS, where he said,
"All starts right there."
Yeah, you don't have
blaming you.
You don't have to get the full run, because not a lot of Golden Age collectors are looking for that number 1 or the full run. They're looking for the set, and so I got that from him. It kind of changed my mindset around, okay, coming from the Silver Age, Bronze Age, Modern Age, I was always looking for the runs, and I don't need the runs anymore. I need the set. So that brings me up to what I'm looking for on my list. So I was very fortunate enough to pick up 2 really cool books this year. This is Superman 9.
Nice.
And this is Superman 11.
Yeah, real good.
Now hold up that 11. I'm gonna highlight you, because for those of you who don't know, this is the this is the original cover for the homage done by Adams.
Yes, yep. 233.
So these look really cool next to each other. The set is, hold on one second here. The set is also 6. So if you get 6, 9, and 11, it looks really cool. And I got that from Driven Forward Collectibles or Drive Forward Collectibles on Instagram. He posted, because when you get like one of these, you also like start searching on Instagram who else has some super early Supermans, and he had 6, 9, and 11, and I was like, that looks so beautiful right there.
Trifecta, right?
What's that?
The trifecta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect set. That's exactly what I talk about, man. That's exactly it. You don't need a full run of Superman or anything, or key. Like that is a perfect set. They go perfect together. It's a 3-book set, and when you get the other one, set complete. You know what I mean? The numbers don't have to match up, but thematically, and it's such a good sense of satisfaction completing a set that you sort of made up on your own, but it makes perfect sense. And it's way more attainable than going after runs, which the huge books are very difficult to get. And the rest of the stuff, after a while, I felt like you're just filling in gaps and wasting money, and you don't really like them, but you have to get them because you're working on the run. And what's the point? Just get the set, just get the ones you want, and make the set yourself.
I got the first of a set I want to get, DS. Here, I'll show you guys the Captain America with a machine gun set.
Oh, nice.
That's Bucky, and then with the machine gun, and
Captain America with a machine gun. Now, did he just take that off of a Nazi, or did he come in there kicking the door?
Oh, he came in blazing. There's a number of these. Select Comics one, probably the most expensive one.
Do you have
Captain America? He even has a Bucky has a flamethrower one.
Bucky has a flamethrower.
There's all sorts of them. There's
covers.
This is probably one of the more affordable ones.
Do you have Man Cave? Do you have an all select one?
No, I don't. I wish. That comic's gone crazy recently. Yeah, I'll wait on that one.
Can you imagine one of those flamethrower covers that DS keeps showing? Like the guy's all melting, and it's like Bucky with the flamethrower.
Well, that's another set. Like people like Adam H. War, like the flamethrower covers. And there's not a
flamethrower covers. Yeah, like this one. Yes, I do like my flamethrowers too. This is one of the rare where it's actually the Korean with the flamethrower as opposed to the United States.
Now, Hitler covers is a set, but that's a massively big set. A lot of huge books with a lot of interest. That's a difficult set, but I mean that's different covers across different years and different titles. It's a mismatch of stuff, but thematically they make a set, which to me is always in the Golden Age more exciting than a run. When you get back to the Age, unless you're talking like Batman or Superman or something, runs don't really make a lot of sense. Especially if you're like me in pre-code horror, nobody gives a crap about issue number 1, and half of those titles don't even start with a number 1. They start at like 17 or 4.
I agree with you, DS. The only run I'm going for is Spy Smasher because it's all World War II theme. It's only 11 comics, and it's all. But otherwise, I'm not interested in getting every Wiz comic and because some of them are goofy, and I'm not that interested in. But they're cool. I mean, but I'm interested in the World War II titles for the most part.
Yeah, I like robot covers, but I decided I'm not going to try to get every robot cover that exists.
That's rough.
Some of the top ones I want, and Starling 49 is in there, and Smash Comics 1, Pep Comics 1. They just happen to be number 1s, but those are early robots.
Fantastic Comics 3, is that which one is the other big robot?
Yeah, Brick 6. I need to get another one. I thought I was going to replace that so easily, Al.
Bradford. Yeah.
So I've got my graded copy in there, but this is the painting that my friend's daughter did. Do you think this will ever get? It's still relatively cheap compared to like the Startling.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I sold my 4.5 and I made a nice profit, and it was because I love that book so much I wanted to get a little better grade. I don't need anything crazy, but I feel like 6, 6.5, 7 range because it's not that expensive and it's not that rare. And I'll tell you, every time one comes up, I'm losing the auction, and I'm upping my bids, and I'm losing, and it's creeping up and up and up.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna have to just go nuts and just do baller bid on it one time and just lock it down, because I'll tell you, you think that book's not moving. But ever since I sold mine, I've been missing out on it every single time it comes up.
That river's flowing, man.
It's going up. I'm going to have to start paddling quicker to get that one. And I don't regret getting rid of that.
I know the feeling, boy. I know the feeling.
So I work in IT as a full-time job, and there's a project management methodology called Agile, where you go after short runs, which are called scrums, in a project, right? So it's like, your project is this, right? So it's like you want the whole collection, but then you go after like little chunks, and going after these, like, like identifying specific pieces. Like I want to have this set, of Superman in the Golden Age, right? Before I go after, 20 to 30 or, whatever the case is. It's pretty fun. And if you're looking to get into Golden Age books and you don't know what you're looking for, Bill here pointed out the Gerber Photo Journal Guide to Comic Books is a great resource for Golden Age books. I actually did a video on my channel with Man Cave and in first edition, where we talked about the Gerber guides. It's a really great resource. Full color pictures of all the, I want to say it's as complete as it possibly could be. That was one of the big efforts that they did.
He just quit before he did the Silver Age DC, because there's a 2-volume set for the Marvel, 2-volume set for Golden Age, and then the DC Silver Age. If he'd had that,
it would have been perfect. Yeah, but sadly that's not available, and they're big oversized books.
Right? Yeah. They're heavy, and if you don't have good eyesight, you get a magnifying glass.
That's true. But I mean, like even the pictures of the covers are still at least this big. So
Yeah.
Here's one I regret.
Yeah.
This is very recent.
Yes, Kavi, you were there too. Sorry.
Very recent
Forget
regret.
about who's that Kavi guy? He keeps harassing us.
He keeps
Did
getting
you block him?
Yeah. My nemesis.
Ooh. Oh, that's nice.
Movie comics. Huh?
Yeah, I bid light on it. I didn't want to go nuts, and I regret not bidding much more on it. It's so tough. It's a 1939 book, and it sold for like, I don't know, 2280 or something, or 27 something, and I just didn't want to go that high on it. And I regret, if I go back in time, this was like 3 weeks ago, I would have bid more on that, because that is exactly, I'm thinking to myself now, like, that's exactly the type of book I'm looking for. Super awesome, great condition, very rare, early robot cover. Like, what was I thinking? I was freaking retarded on that one. So,
Well, like you said before in the past, you don't know if you would have bid up to 28, 29.
Right.
They could have gone up to 35. You know,
Yeah.
who knows?
A lot of people make that mistake. They think it went for 2,800, therefore I could have gotten it for a little more than that. Maybe not.
I know.
You don't know how high someone's willing to go. You might
4,000 max bid in. So, but yeah, that's the type of regret where I didn't go after something, as opposed to if I sell something I never regret that, really. Never compared to that.
So back to Alex. What else is on your list? We were looking for Superman. Was it Superman 7?
Yes, Superman 6. I'll just show you guys my list right here. Superman 3 is from 1939. It's Joe Shuster cover. I'm actually halfway paid on that book. I'm buying it from New Force Comics, Rick from New Force.
Nice.
And I'm halfway paid for a 4.0 on that one, and I've been paying it from last year. So I put it on this year's want list because it's certainly tearing up a chunk of my budget, and it's really taking a lot of like I had to call my wife and ask her if I can buy this collection, and I was getting a lot of heat from the seller. He's like, "You have to call your wife," and I was like, "Heck yeah, I've got to call my wife." I was like, "She's the boss." Number 7 is the first
beta male.
This is the first appearance of Perry White, number 7. It's from 1940, Wayne Boring's cover. Another 6 is Joe Shuster again. Star Spangled Comics number 1. Okay, I've had this on my list before, but I didn't actually list it out. Last year I put a number 1, Golden Age number 1 with a first appearance, because for some reason I thought that was the first appearance of Stripe C and Star Spangled Kid. But it's actually an action comics like 30-something, 35, 36, something like that. And the reason why I want this is because I really love the Stargirl show.
Even on auctions, they mislabel that as the first appearance of Star Spangled Kid off. I've seen it, some mistakes on that one.
I think Starman, Star Spangled Kid, is such a cool character. Then Marvel Adventures 18, first appearance of Mary Marvel. And then my great book.
I'm dying to get that book. I mean,
that's one I got last year. That's a big.
As soon as he got it, I was like, "Oh, I love that book."
Every time Man Cave gets a book, I'm like, "Oh." Silver Age. I want to upgrade my Action Comics 252. I want to upgrade my showcase.
What do you have? What grade do you have, Alex?
2.0 in Action Comics 252.
Maybe we can trade or something. I'm looking. I don't need a high grade. I'm looking for that one.
Hey, get mine. I already got that one.
It's one of those ones where I wouldn't even want you guys to own it. I'm telling you right now. First Ray Palmer. I want to upgrade that. I want to get a nice. I've got a copy of Fantastic 450, but I want to get a copy that is graded in a pretty solid, like mid-grade condition, that I can pair up with my couple copies of the trilogy there.
I need to do that too. I've got high grade copies of 48 and 49, but my 50 is like a 4.0.
Oh, well, those are nice. You probably have nice ones. I'd take the 4.0. I want this book. This is a book that I want that I have on my list this year. First appearance of Ted Kord, Blue Beetle. So if I can get this in the draft, Tim and I's draft, I would be very happy to have that book, because it is on my list. I want to get Daredevil 2 through 10 in a nice solid grade to match, and just
Why
pair
don't you
up
just
with-
get 11 too, and you have the full Wally Wood run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like. I actually like 1 through 20, to be honest. I like all those because it includes the first Spider-Man and Daredevil crossover and the
Yeah.
John Spider-Man.
Number 16, I think. Yeah.
16 and 17, yeah.
Last one on the list, pretty cheap. Relatively cheap. I bet I can get one for like 150 in a really nice grade. Is Blue Beetle #1. It's the first appearance of the Question. Steve
Yeah.
Ditko. Just a cool Charlton comics, and it would pair really nicely with this if I do get to own this.
I forgot to mention, DS. I actually like Bronze Age Charlton horror too. Some of it, not all of it, but I sort of like.
The
some
only
of the
two that I want
goofiness
to
in that
get
one.
is the Blue Beetle and the the Question ones. Those are the only ones that, I mean, to me, because I'm not a huge Charlton comics fan.
Some of the villain books are cool, like the first appearance of some of the villains. Those are cool books in the Captain Atom.
Yeah, the first Question. That one it's out there and it's attainable and it's not super expensive, but there's like a really hard census drop on that around like VF, and the
high grade, yeah.
price goes like this, and then when you get to VF, it goes like this.
Oh,
It's not like a steady chart on that. And then if you find like an 8.5 or a 9.0 or like a 9.2, it's exponentially so much higher because that book's really tough to find a high grade, and there are people that want nice VF plus copies of that. They get pricey, so I always keep my eye out for that. And you got to be careful because there's that reprint, but it's easy to identify.
the modern comics, yeah.
Yeah, that's killer. There's a lot of books like that. Like, what's that first Silver Age Spectre? What is that? Showcase 60.
Showcase 60.
Showcase, yeah.
That one's tough. Like some of those DC ones are.
I passed that Showcase 60 up at the Salvation Army. They wanted $19, and I was like, that book looks cool, but it's a Silver Age. Like, why do I want a Silver Age Spectre?
I don't know.
Yeah, you can have 9.0. That's like a gem. It's so hard to find.
It's an okay Murphy Anderson cover, but I like the later Spectres much better. The Neil Adams.
The Spectre run is fantastic.
Yeah, the Spectre run and the adventure comics with Spectre, those are beautiful. The Showcase is a cool comic.
I've been trying to knock those out, but I've only come across one group of the Spectres, and they were all brittle, and I was like, ugh, I just can't do it.
I'll tell you what, you guys want to exercise in futility. Try to find a Strange Adventures 205 in a 9.0 plus.
Oh yeah, that's going to be
205. What is that?
First Deadman. That's First Deadman, right?
Every time I go after that book, somebody grabs it. It's
Yeah.
I can't recall ever having seen one in a 9.0 plus. I'm sure one has come up and I just missed it or whatever.
I got one in a 2.
DC comics are more affordable than Marvel keys in the Silver Age, unless you start getting a high grade, because DC high grade silver is a lot less common than the high grade Marvel. It's just
Well, what's the first Flash starts back at 105? I passed up on a 108, and it was a 7.0, and the guy wanted a fair bit for it, and I was like, man, that sounds like a lot for a 7.0. And then I went and looked on the census, and it's like, there's only one higher graded, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I started looking at the early Flash, like 105 to like 110. And if you get a 7 or a 7.5 on those, man, you're like at the top of the census. It's insane.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
DC silver, early DC silver is
it's hard.
mid to low grade at best.
I got a 105. It's at CGC on its way back, and it's low grade, but it's 105, and
that's a great comic.
Yeah. So I did a video earlier this a couple weeks ago before I started these shows. I dropped it before I did the first one of these shows on what I'm personally hunting, and this year is the first year I've actually put Golden Age books on my list.
Nice.
So you guys help me out here and let me know if you think I'm being crazy or anything or what.
We'll tell you, boy.
So this is the first one on the list. Superman 61. It's the first appearance of Kryptonite, and it's got this really cool, like, good girl art style with the girls, trying to go after him.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love that.
I dig the cover, and I dig what it stands. What the key of the book itself.
That one I would look for a bright white cover over a grade specific. I'd rather have a lower grade with a bright white cover than a higher grade with like a halo.
This is just a stock photo that I got. It's the only thing actually fine. But yeah, like getting a white cover on that, I think you're right. Definitely makes all the difference, especially something I can clean.
Oh yeah, that would be blast to clean that one up.
Yeah. Bullet Man #1.
Right.
Not the first appearance of Bullet Man, just his first in his own book. But one of the cool things about that is the area here, in the title and their helmets,
The metallic.
and the block at the bottom are all metallic, right? It's very cool. A 1 actually, or a 2, because I think 2 is a better shot of Bullet Girl.
Yeah.
So like 1 or 2, if I come across either one of those.
That's a great comic. Now, just anybody ever see Master Comics #13? That's one of the ones I've been.
Right. Yeah.
That is a ghost.
Yeah.
I've practically never seen that anywhere at this point. It's the first Bullet Girl, which is not really why I'm interested. It's a Hitler cover too. Damn it.
Well,
if it wasn't the first Bullet Girl, it'd be a lot easier.
I love the fact that you have a silver metallic foil Golden Age book. There's a handful of them in the Golden Age where they use those metallic, and when you find one, a lot of times it's wore off. But the Bullet Man, the Silver Streaks, there's a couple silver.
Eye Smasher #1, Captain Marvel #2, 3, and there's a bunch of the Captain Marvel ones with it. They're
real cool to own one of those. I'd like to own a Silver Streak of a silver logo too. So that would that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, that's the better one than #2.
Yeah. Obviously it's, but like I said, #2 just has I think is a better
like a red or orange. Man,
it's a red. It's
red
but it's not a silver.
rendering.
It's not. It doesn't have the metallic.
It doesn't have the metallic, but it's a better. Obviously, it's less expensive too. So it's like depending on how the budget goes, throughout the year, that's what I'll be looking at. Superman 53, which is the retold origin of Superman, but it's got the cool rocket cover on it, right? It's all black. So I was testing the waters, last week, and there was one for auction. So I'm like, okay, and it was like hanging out like $150, $160, and I'm like, all right, cool. So, I put in a little bid, on the snipe, to try and get it. And I watched this thing end, and it shot from $170 up to 560 in 3 seconds. I was like, oh. So
what's your view on Restored, Geek? What's your view on Restored?
Well, like I said, when it comes to Golden Age books, I don't have a deterrence to it. It's kind of, it's one of those things where because of the lack of inventory, right? Because of the age and because of the print runs and because of things that were going on during the time, World War II and conservation and recycling.
The reason I asked is because I know someone who has a Restored grade who might be willing to part with it. So
well, the book I was actually big on was Restored. It wasn't graded, but it was Restored because those blacks are just obvious. Just people just drive to filling that one in with a Sharpie. To make it look better, but I'm not against. I'm definitely not against a restored copy. Yeah, Biggie Shack's right. The first Bullet was Nickel Comics. The Master 13 is definitely Bullet Girl.
Master 13. If anybody has that and someone's offering it, I'll increase the offer. I'll outbid them.
There you go. So, #2 on the list is Batman 68. I dug it because it's a great Two-Face cover, and it's one where he's actually playing with the coin, and it's the last of his only 5 appearances in the Golden Age in Batman.
That's a lot though for Batman. I mean, besides Joker, like you don't see a lot of his villains. Two-Face and Catwoman are
all the Batman villain covers, or if you have any villain cover from a Batman book aside from a Joker. There aren't many.
Joker was very prolific, but Scarecrow only had one in the Golden Age. That's it. Because he only appeared 2 or 3 times. I think he's only number of appearances.
Yeah, Penguin's got a few, but not a ton. Yeah. Joker has obviously a lot, but there's not a lot of Two-Face covers. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, that is nice.
And then
nice.
That's great.
Love that one.
If I can get a decent copy for a decent price, I would love to bring that one home. But we were watching the Heritage auction, and that 7.0 just was up there.
Well, I'll
But
tell you, I really, if I stray in, sometimes I feel like picking up a Batman or a Superman book, and if I ever do, it'll be a black cover Batman or a black cover Superman.
yeah,
They're so dope. I like that one a lot. That one's real
You'll
cool.
just bump into Tech 31 and just that'll be your big.
I'll tell you, I was going to put that on my list, and then the last couple auctions on that were through the roof, and that's back again. But man, when that was selling for like 23,000 for like a 1.0 of a Tech 31, I could move some books and get one. But now it's going to like 45,000 for a 1.0.
Really?
Yeah, I can't do that.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Absolutely crazy. Well, I think we've come. Yeah, we're a little bit over what I usually anticipate for this show. So this is the part where I want to give you guys an opportunity to sign off and let everybody know what's going on with you. First, I want to thank all of you for coming out and being on the show, and everybody in the chat as well. So, Alex, tell us what's going on your channel.
Well, I wanted to say thanks as well. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for allowing me to be on the same show with DS, one of my favorites on YouTube. I literally watch anything that he's involved with because I just love the insight, and it really helps me focus. Even though I don't always take the advice, I love it, and it helps me. It helps me think of what a better Alex could be. And then, of course, Man Cave, one of my buddies. I love being on shows with him and just interacting and talking with him. Tim's coming over tomorrow. We're going to do another video. We have a stack of books right here. We might do 1 or 2 videos, quick ones. And then one of these days, we need to split up this collection. So we're going to do a draft. The first person gets the cherry. They get the plum, or what, as the old saying goes. They get the one pick, the biggest plum in the collection. The next person gets 2 picks. And then it's 1-to-1 as far as we want to go.
Wow.
So we're going to have all the books with the prices and the grades like on the table. We'll show everybody what's going on. It'll be live.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a fun time. And so in the chat, we'll be like, oh my gosh, okay, now it's my pick. Should I go for this Captain Atom 83 or should I go for the Daredevil 2? Like, what would you guys pick in this situation? And it'll be a fun time. And so looking forward to that.
Very cool.
Yeah, nice.
Man Cave, how about you?
Well, first, I agree with Alex. It's great to hang out with Alex, and this is the first time I've ever hung out with DS, so it's been a definite pleasure. I admire all you guys so much. I have new stuff on the wall. I have all 10 Submariner Atlas comics up, and they're all. I love the Cold War theme, so I give Timely and Atlas credit because they always were putting the pressure on the World War II times, and during the Cold War they were like full throttle ahead when everybody else was dropping off. So got the Submariner, which only one of them's not a Cold War, and then I have like 4 Catechetical Guild comics, one which I bought from DS, which is I'm just going to show my sort of
Right on.
and I have Captain America Atlas.
Are you going to do a video showcasing?
Yeah, you know how I just wander around, low budget. But comics.
Hey, you know what? We love seeing it. I'm so glad that you started doing those top picks of the year, just to have something on there because you have such a tremendous collection, and we're all just very just doe-eyed every time you're showing stuff. We're just, oh my god, I can't even imagine getting that right. And it's just seeing them live, seeing them like that in person instead of just in a a picture on the internet or in a book. It's just great to actually see the real books. So please do more.
Well, I appreciate that. And then I'm on the hunt or Slab. Grayman has a Slab show at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, like a cover champion type of thing. So I'm usually on that kind of stuff. And
I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's 2 in the afternoon Eastern time, so it's a little. I didn't even know about it, and then I just bumbled in on it, and then I got roped in. So I'm not on it every time, but
I'll start watching.
Like I wasn't on this today. Was Kiss covers, and I realized I had exactly one comic with kissing, and I'm proud that and the only one I have is a Neil Adams Superman famous kissing. But other than that, it was like
nice.
I had to bow out.
Yeah, to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, DS?
Thanks for hosting this and having me on. And it's hard to believe Man Cave and I haven't been on the same show together. I think each other's chats and whatever. But look, when you collect Golden Age and you see the man cave walk around or just pulling up stuff and showing, I mean, it's so impressive to have any of those books, let alone a selection of that like that. So that's why I love Golden Age too, because you can just build your perfect, unique collection. It's not like anyone else's. And then, yeah, Alex, thanks, man, for, there's not a lot of people get me, but if you do get me, you sort of tend to appreciate it, and then we can share that together. And I know you.
I'm going to interrupt DS one second. He did the best free market analysis of comics on our video once as a rant for speculators. That it was. If you're a libertarian with a free market mentality, it was beautiful.
What are you talking about, mine?
Yes. Yeah, I love that video. That was a great video.
Limits and these guys going off about.
So if people want to learn about economics and free market economics and capitalist principles, DS will teach you something on that regard.
Yeah, I'll tell you, on my channel, I don't have a lot coming up. I don't do my channel and content for subs. I just do it to hang out and share stuff, and I usually just go live or whatever. But yeah, I think I am going to do sort of like more rants, because I always have a perspective on things that I feel like I don't ever hear anybody saying it, and it gets a lot of thumbs down and it gets a lot of negative comments and people hate on me, and I have no problem with that. So I like to put out perspectives that I don't hear. So I think I'm going to do more of that, because I just hear one-sided stuff all the time, and I'm not necessarily right, but I have a perspective that's not getting any play out there in the airwaves. So I think I'm going to do.
Well, just like you're a meticulous person, DS, you have a well thought out argument, and it's fun to listen.
Absolutely.
I agree with a lot of what you said, but I'd probably be a little helter skelter in explaining it, whereas you just put it out there very eloquently, and it was nice to listen.
I don't feel so eloquent sometimes.
Thank you.
Don't undervalue it, man.
I'm principled. I'm a libertarian. I'm all about individual freedom, and people inject emotion into everything, and it sort of corrupts your view on what's right. Just because if it doesn't suit you, or it angers you, or raises emotions in you, people go after it as it being wrong. And you have to be willing to accept that some things are going to offend you or bother you or not work for you, and it still might be the best benefit for everyone. And in comics, people get so fired up about some of these issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take it personally, and they get really
politics.
Yeah,
they blame Comic Tom for the price of comics going up. I mean, give me a break.
Comic Tom, E-Collector, like there's all this stuff out there. Like Speckers are getting crapped on with like cursing, and there's a lot of hate. Like, are you kidding me? It's just comics. Like, it's a collectibles market, so people need to just figure out what it is. It's not like an emotional thing. But yes, you're not going to always succeed at everything, and there's going to be stuff that annoys you. But I might do more content.
More rants. Yeah, we like your rants.
No, it's refreshing, DS, to actually have those well thought out arguments and conversations and opinions that are not that don't follow along with what everybody else is saying, right? Because there is more than one side to every story, right? And it's important that we hear those so that we can make informed decisions in our life instead of just the same thing over and over coming through. So it's like I said, it's very refreshing to have that, for you to have that voice out there.
Well, thanks. I plan on doing more of that this year, not just ranting for the sake of ranting, but
focused rants.
Focused rants, exactly. I'll probably do more of that, but that's about it.
Well, absolutely excellent, and thank you everybody for coming on. I do appreciate all the guests that have come on. And if I haven't contacted you already about coming on the show, and you do want to come on the show, please contact me on my Instagram at the Geek Aficionado, and let me know that you want to come onto the show, and we'll get you onto an upcoming episode. Still doing a lot of these. Our next episode is going to be next Thursday at the same time at 9 Eastern, featuring Los, D-Rock Comics, and JP's Budget Collecting. And then we'll be back again the following Tuesday with Bonafide Comics, Comic Books NYC, and Bub's Comics as well. So stay tuned to the channel for that. And that's all we've got. So thank you again for coming out and hanging with us. And we'll talk to you soon.